Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the July 28th meeting of the Board of Sewer Commissioners. Call the meeting to order. The roll call. Sandy
Sandy Slavin.
Malcolm White, present.
Peter Dunlop, present.
and Jim Gibberti present. Donna is not. Citizens' participation, we have nobody in sight, so we're moving along. We have, I don't believe, we have no minutes. So,
We are missing 4 sets of minutes, and we received none for tonight.
right. Okay, so moving along. Q discussion, we had some questions on that. If I remember right, our last meeting, we had the queue, we had one party on the queue that we put, was that correct, or we ended it altogether?
Yes, we did. We voted on one property, 211 Onset Ave.
I wasn't going to queue, we actually approved it. I don't believe it was a queue. I think, I looked at the minutes, and I think you said you didn't want a queue. So I guess it's verbiage, so whatever it
Thought
is,
we
it is.
voted on that one since they had a building inspection. They were approved for building, so we put that
Yes.
one in the queue, nothing else.
Yeah, I thought we had one.
Anybody else? I mean,
I thought we
I
had
looked at my
one.
notes, and we had one property in a queue. The others were not being considered because they didn't have the proper building code approval. Is there a bird in here? Is there a bird in here?
Sounds like it.
Should we invite him in?
Whichever one it was, Sandy, I think it was whoever had a building permit.
Yes,
at
and
the
there was
time-
just one
at the
property.
time.
One property is the only one we approved.
At the time.
I don't know
there's-
which one.
Okay, yeah, 211, I think, but at the time, there was like 8 building permits waiting for approval, and I wasn't approving anything. At one time, there was 15, but we're down to 8, so.
Well, it's been so long. This was at the June 23rd meeting. We put 211 Onset Ave, looking for 40 units, 40 gallons per day. It was the
Right.
only one we approved for next one to be available.
Well, he's done. He's doing his thing.
So we need to understand what we have approved and what is being given out that we haven't approved.
What we're giving out is anytime gallon's available and there's a building permit for change of use or additional bedroom, they get
So
it.
we don't have a say. Sewer commissioners do not approve that hookup.
Sewer commissioners pass the moratorium when gallons become available. It's a day-to-day operation, we approve them. So I get building requests every single day, which we do as
Is
this
there-
course.
Guy, is there any chance we can see what's in the queue and what has been approved by you for hookup?
Yeah, I can get, it's on the town website, I can give it to you.
We have a list here, but
No, I can, it's on the town website, but I can give it to you. I wonder if I can get you a pass to get into the government program, and you'll see the building permits as they come in. And and a lot of these building permits have been in the process for months, well before the queue, before the moratorium. But I can get that list.
but
We
you
have one.
released some in the last month.
I released some when the 3 Kendrick came 600 gallons under what the present one is doing, and I released the 600 gallons, actually 400 of it,
So-
to those. I'll give you that list.
We have the letter, but I didn't realize that you were going to chew it up already.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna
can you give me a list of who that
Yep.
600 you went to?
Yes, I will. I'll check, because I'll chew it up as it goes, because people waiting, and as the gallons become available, which is going to be rare, but when they come available, we'll give them away. to
And we
people
have
that-
no say. Sewer commissioners have no say. Am I missing something?
Well, no, I'll tell you what, since we do have a moratorium, we should have an updated list every meeting until the moratorium's gone.
Any-
So that would
okay.
come under Q discussion,
Yes.
so we can stay abreast of what's going on. But day to day, Guy's gonna run it in ordered in the right sequence, I would imagine.
Yes, I do them as they, because there's a history of what they're
First
doing.
come, first served.
And I
Wait,
talk,
is
But
it-
you're right, we
Is
should
it
know.
first come, first serve, or is it the first one has too many gallons than what's available, and it goes to the second and third are only looking for 4 or 5? I don't understand.
That's a valid
Who gets
question.
the priority?
I work with Paul, the new building commissioner. We validate what people need, and if it's available, they'll get it. If it's not available, they don't get it. It's as simple as that. Now, to
So-
your point, if someone came for 10 gallons and we had 15 in, I'd give the 10 gallons away. The
Even
person
though
that,
it was a guy in front of him wanted 20.
because he can't have it. Yes, I would give the 10 away.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
So, for discussion,
Yeah,
that should be part of the meeting until the moratorium's gone.
yes.
It's down, I heard a bad, and I just did that for that.
Because we can update you as we go and who gets and what, yeah, because I go by the building permits that hit the site, that have been met every criteria through the building department, approved by the building commissioner, and they become available.
Can you share with us what you have released with that 600 becoming available?
I can't tell you, I think 15 Acorn was a home that was designed in 2007. She was going to build 3 bedrooms. Her children moved out, so she did just 1. Her daughter moved back in, who's got a Down syndrome child, so I gave her 110 gallons.
That was not on the list you gave us at the last meeting.
No, that was on the building commissioner's
Well,
list.
see, I don't know, maybe I'm being picky, but we had a list. 12 Railroad Ave, 330 gallons. 5 Woodbury Street, 110 gallons. 4 Tow Road, 320. Were they released?
Tow Road is in our discussion tonight. I can't release Tow Road because that was on the plan of the Popeyes. We told him to give him one at a time. We didn't release that, so he's not a building permit. I can't do anything with it. I'm not talking about ones that's,
I know that's on
Yeah.
the schedule a little later on.
so I can't deal
So
with
the one
one.
you released was not on the list you had provided us at the last
Right.
meeting. So I'm confused as to what is available and who's getting what gallons.
Yep. At the last meeting, it was stated that we want people that are at building permit. They've done everything, they're there,
Yep.
they're ready to go, and that's what we're doing. Other people that have proposals and thinking about it, until they get to the building permit, they're really not in the consideration. It may be something we can start as a queue, and they can eventually come in and apply for
So, in
gallons.
all-
I thought
all
we had this
fairness-
discussion earlier,
Right.
that building permits shouldn't be issued until they've got approval on having flow availability.
Now, building permits
That was our
are,
discussion 6 months ago.
Jim, building permits are properties that are already tied in. They're tied in. So the question we're saying is that even though they're tied in, they can't increase their flow.
Okay,
That's a whole different ballgame because they have it, that they're actively there. And it also falls on the change of use, which goes through the building permit process. So if somebody changed the building from A to B, and I gotta look at the gallons and what's
okay,
happening.
so we're not talking about a building permit per se, a new building structure.
Absolutely.
We're talking about a building permit that's a
Renovation?
renovation
Yes. Active, yes.
consideration.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. If somebody came and wanted to build a house, it's a whole different ballgame. If they had a lateral and they were in existence, we said, if they're in existence, like say Parkwood Beach, and there's a vacant lot with the lateral, they can build because they were considered in the.
Because they're
if you
already
will.
considered in what
Absolutely.
our-
They can build.
Yeah, okay.
So it's different with
Right.
nothing and with something, so we treat them differently.
Yeah. So in all fairness, going forward, we'll have this discussion when you are prepared,
Yep.
Absolutely.
not tonight.
Okay.
So if they want to just add a bedroom, they're not on the list at all?
No, they're at the building department list. I think what Sandy's asked me to do is provide that list to her, because I get the emails.
By adding the bedroom, they're changing what we've got for an intake.
Yes, they can't add a bedroom.
The point in having this moratorium and a list for people to get on it if we're ignoring it.
So let me explain it. So I've got building permits now that I've denied because people are increasing bedrooms, so they stay in the building permit, they're stagnant, because I can't give them gallons, we have none. If a building, let's say that, like in this case, 3 Kendrick, that building was doing 1,400 gallons a day. That's what we're accepting, that's a number. The new building's doing 800. There's a 600-gallon
Okay, I
surplus.
got all of that.
And so that's what I'm saying. So that person that's in the building permit gets it.
The question's simple, guy.
I answered it.
Have a moratorium.
Yes.
Therefore, adding a bedroom is against the moratorium.
The moratorium says no added flow. It's talking about
Adding a
flow.
bedroom is added flow.
That's right. And if there's none available, you can't have it. If it's available, we always give it away. That's what we've been doing forever.
But if we don't have a list, who's going to get it first? The last person that calls?
No, the day that it's the gallons available, I go to the list and I start
What do
down
you
the
find
top.
in this list? That's my point.
At the building department, at the building commissioner's
So the
department.
building department has got the queue.
They've got the list of people that have existing tie-ins that want to modify their home and may want to add a bedroom. Yes. Some, I tell them that you can get rid of a bedroom. A young lady wants to add a bedroom. She's elderly and she wants to get the first floor. I said, you can do it if you get rid of your bedroom upstairs because it's a negative flow. She's already in the system. I said, you can't add a fourth bedroom because there's a moratorium. However, if you get rid of the bedroom upstairs that you can no longer use and put one downstairs, you're good because you're not increasing the flow of that property. So it's in the realm of the moratorium, but she's adding a bedroom, getting rid of one. And these are discussions we have every single day.
Help me understand how flow becomes available, other than what just happened at Kendrick.
Yes, that's
That's it. You know of nothing else that's going to give us flow.
No, let's give you an example. We've got a nursing home that's online for 14,000 gallons a day. Let's say somebody builds something there that's only going to take 300 gallons a day. So now there's a surplus of 12,000 gallons. Where does it go? No, it's a surplus. So that surplus we can give away to get back to the zero that we're at. We're not increasing. We have a capacity issue. We're talking about the 1.56 or the 1.25.
Guy, bottom line, when flow becomes available, can you inform us what flow became available and how much?
I told you I would. And then you can even have the list of people on the building permit. You can have it all. If you think, what you're saying, if you want to make the decision, then you can make the decision. I won't make them. I will say, what's available, you can help me with the day-to-day running of this
I'm
town.
trying to identify, how flow becomes available. Other than
By
this
use.
Kendrick.
By change of use. Kendrick was a change of use.
Okay, so there's a possibility with a change of use, there could be some gallons available that
Absolutely.
would be, could be used by structures that have a building permit that have already built
Yes, the existing flow.
for renovation.
Yes.
So,
Addition.
well, a renovation to the addition of a bedroom. But I'm just trying to understand how all of a sudden we had a moratorium and now we had flow, but
We still
understand
have
that's
a
Kendrick.
moratorium. We're not increasing 1 gallon.
We haven't increased anything. All we've done is
Increasing nothing.
reallocated
That's all we're doing.
something that became available. Had
Not
600
increasing
gallons
anything.
become available, it got reallocated to other spots.
I think the problem is the queue that we have and the queue that the building department have aren't necessarily
The same.
the same.
That's right, because the building department doesn't have a queue, they have people ready to go that are existing. A queue is people that, like tonight, the guy that wants to build at 4 Toro, my suggestion would make a queue, because he's buying a piece of property, it's vacant, it's already, because remember, we gave the gas station, we gave Popeyes, and this is the third parcel. They sold the third parcel to an individual, he wants to put a car wash. He's not even available, if 1,000 gallons came available tomorrow, he can't have it. Because because it's new, he's got to come in front of the board to ask for it, to go into a queue.
Yeah, but wait a minute
So
now.
that's the
Just a
difference.
second. He comes to the board and he asks for it, and we tell him we have a moratorium. He's got everything ready to go. All he needs is a commitment from us that he's got the surge. He wants 500 gallons. You come up with 635, and you give it out to everybody that did renovations on their home. This isn't quite right.
No, the people that get it are already on the building department. He hasn't got there yet, because everything's
He wants to
dated.
be there, and he's got everything except our approval. and he's on our list.
No, he doesn't have a-
He can't get on the building department's list because he hasn't got a building to talk about yet.
That's right, so he's got
But
a,
he's committed to everything else. It's just like this guy that we promised 1,000 gallons to that wants to build a nursing home that's 3 years out.
and he still hasn't come back, as the board gave him more time, he still hasn't told me nothing, no communication.
When this 600 gallons became available, in fairness, it should have gone to the gentleman that was looking for 500 to build a new home. He was on the list first.
What guy?
So,
The person that's on the queue.
No, he hasn't, he had nothing. The guy for Toll Road had nothing, it's not
you
even
gave
nothing.
it to as number 5, Ford, on your list you
Mm-hmm.
gave us at the meeting, for Tow Road. He came in on 6/8/2022.
Yes.
He wanted 320 gallons per day for a car wash. On the list
Yes.
you had already given
right,
us.
and at that
So he
time-
was there.
No, he wasn't. It was Mickey Higgins that was there.
Can I-
Can I explain it to you, please? Instead of, Mickey Higgins owned that property, he was there. In the interim, he sold the property. It's a new party, a new process.
There's nothing on this list that talks about an owner. It
Well,
just
we're gonna
says,
talk about it tonight. It's in the, we'll talk about it. Because that's why it's on the agenda. Because it's changed. It's new owner.
Okay, we're gonna have a list. We'll go over the queue and going forward in next
Absolutely.
meetings.
can we call it a list of pending as opposed to, we seem to be using the
We
queue
can
all
call
over the
it
place.
anything your little
What do you
heart
want?
desires. It makes no difference what we call it.
I've
It
got a
is what it
perfect name
is.
for it.
It's a list.
I'm waiting to hear this.
It's right down our alley.
I'm just waiting to hear for this, but,
Okay. Project updates, the facility, water pollution.
everything is
control.
good and dandy. Everything's fine and dandy. We're in good shape. Okay, let's go. Narrows Force Main. Narrows
Yeah,
Force
let's do that
Main,
one
we put
first.
out the bid last week. We authorized to borrow $3 million. The bids came in at $4.9 million. $5.9 million. So we kicked the bids. Derek and I met today with a company. We're looking at a procurement procedure to get that back online for a lot less money. So I'll update you as we go because we have to do it. Narrows Force Main is not an option, but it came in double what we projected it to come in at. So we're going to work through it. And we met with a company, a young lady today, and we talked about this very particular thing. We've got the new procurement. We're going to work through this, and we'll get back to you with numbers, trying to stay within the numbers we have. So that's where we are with the Narrows Force Main.
Why did they come in so high? Any idea?
Because what they said is that they asked us to allow a provision that if the prices came in higher, that we would grant the higher prices. And we couldn't do it. I talked to our attorney, and we couldn't offer that. So the bidders were saying, because especially with piping and elbows and certain particular things that's unknown, they had to carry enough money. So if the prices escalated, once they signed the contract, they could do it. That's the reason I got. I can't answer the question for each individual bidder, but I will say this, they're all around the same money.
How much?
5.7 to 5.9. 5.7 million to 5.9 million. So when I see everybody in the same ballpark, one or two things are happening. They're talking to each other, or they're all doing it realistically, and that's a real number. So that's all I can tell you.
So how can we get it done for 3 million?
No, we're gonna look to, because it's a procurement issue. And we may not get 3 million, but we're trying to get within something that's 25 to 40% above, and we'll figure it out. We're working with it. So that's what we're doing, and we'll figure it out. It's called a procurement process and guaranteed work in the future. So if we guarantee somebody through procurement that they can do Heinz also, then they'll lower the prices because it's a bundle opposed to just one. So there's ways to work through it, and we're gonna work through it through the Inspector General's office. We're gonna do it
Is
totally
this
legal.
gonna be a negotiated settlement, or is this gonna have to be a new RFP?
No, what we're doing is there's a procurement process approved already. And so the Inspector General is approved, and the Attorney General has approved this procurement process. There's individuals, it's called state bids, we do it all, I just bought a pickup through state bids. So the state puts out a RFP for whatever, let's say engineering, vehicles, and everybody bids. Chrysler, Chevy, they all bid, and the state approves the bid. So they say you can buy a Chevy from this place, et cetera, et cetera. I need to buy a
So in other
vehicle.
words, they've got a list of the parts that we're gonna be, that are necessary and a price appropriated for it,
And the people that can do it, yes.
and get them to do it.
That's right, it's
okay.
on the list.
So
They have
that's-
1,000
so that's
points
gotta
that
be
they can
worked
do,
out. Okay.
yes.
All right,
And so now, you already got the procurement done, so now it's negotiation.
that's what I said. So
Opposed to
we're-
doing-
Are we doing a
yes, as opposed to doing a
negotiation, or we're
bid.
gonna do an RFP, so it's a negotiation.
Negotiation, because the
Okay,
RFP
and-
is secured through the state
And
already.
that's where we're sitting with the Narrows at the moment. We're
That's
looking at
right.
double the cost on bids, and we're gonna try to bring it down.
We are,
Then
we'll work
Then
hard,
you'll come back with that number.
absolutely.
Okay.
Swiss Beach, you'll hear about, I think goes out to bid next week or something, so you can hear about that. It's looking good. We talked to people from E1. Now, the question I have for the board is Saturday at around 10 o'clock, the 20th or the 27th, do you want to have a meeting with the neighbors? I've set up a meeting for Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning, the 20th of August or the 27th. So you tell me what date works best. If you all want to be there, you got to post it. If just a couple want to be there, you don't have to post it.
Where are you gonna do it?
At their center on Pleasant Street in Swiss Beach.
At the Swift Beach Improvement Association?
Yes, yes.
And
What
what
were
day are you gonna do?
Saturday at 10 in the morning. It's going to be the 20th or the 27th, I believe, of August.
I'd push for the 20th only because we have a meeting on the 25th, so that we can have a discussion about how the meeting turns out afterwards,
It's up to you. I'm
instead
just,
of waiting a couple of more weeks.
because I wouldn't commit to, I talked to Bob,
Yeah.
and he was open. I told the young lady that I would talk to the board and get back to her with a date.
Why, do you want us all there?
It's up to you guys.
Whoever shows up, I'd like to be able to, at our next meeting after that takes place, just to have a discussion on what took place, so everybody.
But only 2 people can show up unless you post a
Well,
meeting.
that's fine. That doesn't, you know, if people all want to go, that's fine. We'll post a meeting. That's immaterial, you know.
Why don't you just post the
I
meeting?
will, just post a meeting, and, you know, if people show, they show. If they don't, they don't.
Yep, that's fine. E1 will be there.
Yeah.
They're going to be cut out to talk about their
Yeah.
technology and what we're doing. Bob will be there explaining his process. You folks will be there to answer questions. I'll be there. And if we can think of anybody else, we will bring them. And they have a chance to question and answer. It's a good chance for Bob also because there's some tight spots and we can talk to some of the folks and get some really good answers. And so it's going to be a very productive meeting, so.
Whereabouts would it be held, Guy?
At, I don't have the address of Pleasant Street, but it'll be at their center, community center on Pleasant Street in Swiss Beach.
It's right, it's Swift Beach
Swiss Beach
Association.
Association.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
It's on Pleasant Street. You'll see the
All right, I'll
building.
find it.
It
That's not a
stands
problem.
out.
It's
And-
off of Wonkinko.
parking might be difficult. Okay, because it's only a little bit of parking inside. I
Look at
don't know
that.
how much of it's handicapped, so.
Get there early, so you can have parking. And a matter of fact, we'll try to
I'm
we
just
can put
thinking-
cones down for him. We'll try to put cones down for him, because he needs it. You know what I'm saying? I think we can accommodate that.
It's
We'll
either
get you
that-
close.
It's either that or an electric cattle prod to get me moving.
We can do one or the other, you know. And
Whatever.
Bob's gonna be there. He can carry you, so we're good. We've got it all figured out.
Did you say 10 o'clock?
Yes, 10 in the morning. So I'll call and confirm that that's the 20th of
Have you-
August.
Are you going to give this to the newspaper?
I was gonna put it on my website, but I can.
Well, I'm just asking.
I had no intentions
I want to make
because-
sure that as many people down there know about it.
She was gonna spread the word. She's emailing everybody. So
Gee,
I forget her name, young lady I called her, talked to her, she said she has email ads, she'd email them, and I'm good with that, but we can put it in the paper. She's gonna email all the members. So that's, to me, that was good enough, but we'll do, if you want it in the mail, we can put it in the paper.
Okay.
That's easy. Okay, you want me to
Yeah,
advertise it?
I'll speak to Chloe.
Yeah, you can put it in the paper, just, it doesn't hurt.
And is she going to put a notice on the bulletin board down there?
I didn't ask, but I'm sure, because she's trying to get it out there. 'Cause it's an important meeting for her and her residents. She's going to get the word out there, get as many people in as she can. So I trust that she realizes that it's a good time to talk and questions, and so, but I'll ask her to, I got to talk and confirm, so I'll ask if she can put a memo there. If she needs me to advertise, what help can I give her to get it out?
All right, give her my address and telephone number if you want. Tell her, because I'm, right down there in the neighborhood.
Okay,
All right, and any help I can give her,
Okay.
if she wants.
I can do that.
All right.
Kendrick usage, what's our status over there?
Kendrick, so the GHD is working on a project, the surveys have been there, there's still some more work to do, but what we're trying to do and figure out is how to eliminate Kendrick Pump Station. One of the things we've been working on throughout the entire town is how do we eliminate pump stations? And this idea is to put a bigger interceptor, so they're doing all the measurements and all the grades to figure out if this is doable, and it seems to be. There's some more work to do, and we'll finalize it. So the goal is to have this big, if you will, wet well, 15-inch wet well down the length of Kendrick, or a good portion of Kendrick headed towards Thatcher. And so as all this flow comes in, it has a place to gather, eliminating Kendrick Pump Station, and then it goes directly to the system to Thatcher. So that's what we're working on now. They're very close, and so that project we feel is either we replace it because it needs to be replaced, or we do something different and eliminate it. And I think eliminating will make everybody's life happier because we've got that extra capacity and then flow it to Kendrick. So
What extra capacity?
the size of the pipe, because the wet well's 1,200 gallons.
But there's no change to what
in the middle of the
can
meeting,
be
I'll tell you
processed,
that.
okay.
No, we're
I
talking
hear
about the capacity of the
capacity.
pipe. The pipe can hold so much, and the wet well only holds 1,200 gallons.
Yep.
So we're gonna gain more, if you will, holding capacity through the 15-inch pipe. That's the goal. And it just makes it a smoother transition to flow into Kendrick, and into Thatcher. And also, it's a nice, slow, consistent flow. If you really wanna see something, come down to Thatcher Pump Station, I'll open the hatch, and you'll watch Rosebrook Pump and Kendrick Pump, and you'll see the overwhelming to that pump station, because it bangs the sides of it and makes it difficult to maintain that pump station. This is going to give us something more, consistent, nice, slow flow, and it's a better deal for all of us. So that's what we're working on there. I'll update you as soon as we get to the point of, to be blunt, we've had so many projects, and we're still working with it, but there's other things that were higher priorities. Not that we haven't, but we're still working on it, so I'll get that when we really need to be. So I'll update you as we go along. That's a real good project.
How are you gonna fund it?
I don't know, but I told Derek today, I said, Derek, I'm gonna be blunt with you. I don't know how I'm doing all this stuff. I'm gonna probably spend $200 million in the next 10 years. I don't know where it's coming from. I gotta find it, but these things I have to do. So anyways, so after he picked
theoretically-
himself up,
We better get something together to go on on the fall town meeting for additional borrowing.
we're looking at that. Derek's is working
Well,
with us
we're
on
running
that.
out of time, too.
Yeah, he said that too, yeah.
Yes.
We're gonna get it done real fast. Because like he said to me,
Started it
it's,
right here.
it's not he said it's not the town meeting, it's the articles. The deadlines for articles is what's
Yeah,
critical.
the articles are due probably mid-September at
Yes.
the latest.
Yes,
It's
so.
Early
Maybe
September.
early September, yeah, I agree with you.
So
Yeah.
articles need to be in.
So we're working on that, but to be frank, Kendrick isn't gonna be ready for an article, so I'm not worried about that. We'll probably do that one in the spring. Anything that's ready, the only thing that's gonna be ready for fall town is the engineering of the IUP that you'll
So
hear
we
about
need
tonight.
that
So,
article for
yeah,
that
we have an
funding
article,
level.
an
have a
idea of
draft.
one. We're already ahead of that. We'll give it to you to refine it. So we'll just roughly do it, you can refine it. So that's where we are with that. So we'll talk later about that, but we're trying to get that done too. The plant upgrades, guys gotta come down there, it's really amazing. Today, we switched basins, and there's if you call it distribution box, and all that means is a box with many pipes leaving, going to different areas. Example, EQ basin 1, EQ basin 2, EQ basin 5. EQ basin 5 is the covered basin, and the cover's already there. So what happens when we get that peak flow or that excessive flow, and it comes in that distribution box, we adjust the wear so it goes automatically to number 5.
I was down there today, and I don't remember seeing anything covered.
Oh, my goodness.
Did I
Show a
drive by it?
It hides in
Sure,
plain sight. What
It's
you
there.
think you're looking at is a concrete slab.
the
It's really,
brick-
that's the roof of the tank that you're looking
there.
at.
Because the old one was lined with black, and I don't remember it being
Yes, to the
black
right of
before.
that. Yes, to the right of that. Come on.
Yep.
You should ask for a walk. The engineer's there, ask for a walk. I mean that, guys. I really, because we can drive you
Whenever I
out
go down to
there.
pick up my packet, I drive around the plant and
So,
look.
so you see a lot going on. There's a lot going
Then,
on.
yeah.
If you look at the new basins, they're really shaping up. They're shaping up in the basins, but also the filter beds, everything's there other than the finalization, but you can see where the structures are. You can see where the piping's going. Everything's there. So it's really, we're coming along. We're overcoming a lot because there's a supply issue that we have to overcome. And so it really puts a damper. But one thing about the contract that I'm pretty excited about is they keep going. and they work around it, and they allow them to come back, so that there isn't like, oh, well, we don't have it, we'll stop. I'm impressed. They just keep pushing because we got to get it done. And so they're working sometimes with that part. Other times, they're asking the state for alternatives. They're thinking outside the box. How can I get it done? To me, that's pretty exciting because they're working in our best interest, and the engineers are making sure that gets done. So I'm pretty excited about it. So when you get a chance to come down, and it's good. And if anybody that's on sewer wants to see it, please come down and we'll show it to you. I'm excited about it. It's going well. It really looks good. So I think you all ought to see it. We're working on the groundwater. We've picked out 2 sites. I talked to Derek about them. One's at Deacon's School, one's at Westfield. One can do 2 million gallons a day, one can do 3 million gallons a day. We'll put a plant there. So now we got to do the actual 10 by 10, 2 million and 3 million. So now we got to do the 10 by 10 water testing. They got to actually see what the groundwater can hold. I told Derek we'll do that, and then we'll make a determination which one's better. That's only going to be 50, 60 million, but that's another story. We'll talk about that later. So we're moving forward on that. That's the groundwater contract we have, the analysis we're doing, so that's moving along great.
So,
Go ahead.
you're looking at Deacon's and you're looking at Westfield, but
Yes. We'll pick
is-
one.
is there, if I take a look at Westfield, what homes down there are sewered?
None.
None.
Yeah, I like to sewer them.
So you're gonna take there's a field, there's an area that's all treed right now that is not a ball field, and that's the one you're thinking about
Yeah,
using
13
it in
acres
West-
there, yes. And it's kind of sparse. We'll do the work in the
Oh,
sparse
I
area.
thought that was gonna be used for more playground, for more fields, but okay, I guess
There's
not
some there. Well-
everybody's talking to everybody.
There we are. I'm talking to a gentleman that wants to put a football stadium there. And I'm talking to him too, because we can all live together. We can all live
That's
together.
not what I was thinking. I'm not talking about the Tigers. I'm talking about another component that people are looking for.
Just then ask, we'll work together.
The plan to, if they put the fire station and the police station as Deacon's, they're gonna take over the ball field, and they were thinking about moving those ball fields over to
I
Westfield,
think it's a great idea.
They're gonna happen.
but whatever.
Well, if we,
Okay, and so, but Deacon's, we have no idea what's gonna happen at Deacon's right now. It's all up in the air, correct?
there's some, I won't divulge some of it, because it's probably not my purview, but there's some really valid plans in place for Deacon's and many other
From
things.
the sounds of things, it really doesn't make a hell of a lot of difference what happens with Deacon's as long as we can use the property as the groundwater. That's
right.
So what happens to Deacon's?
Groundwater in a small plant, so we're looking at
Part
that,
of the
yes.
discussion.
Small plant,
Well, we want to do about 4,000 gallons a day, because I can pick up all of the existing use and other use within the community. And it'll also help address through our comprehensive wastewater management plan, I'll talk about that in a
Thank you.
second, but it'll address the future
Well-
because we've got some issues coming down through the state
thank
that
you.
we've
I
got to
didn't
address.
realize that Deacon's and Westfield were on the plate for groundwater discharge.
Oh, yeah, I'll put it, you got anything else? I'll try anything, I'm good.
Well, I can just, maybe if I can just add a quick thing with the groundwater recharge. We did start with the, you start at the treatment facility where the origin of the treated water is. We looked within a 2-mile radius. And the only available sites were the property on Minot Road. That was discussed at one point. We had to expand that to 3 miles, because at the end of the day, we really just need, we're going to need a 10, 15, 20 acre, potentially more site to do the recharge beds and the facilities. And with all the other uses going on in town, it becomes challenging, because DEP gives us some very specific criteria. So we already start off with a limited amount of 20 acre, suitable size, ideally that the town owns, so we don't have to do a land taking. And then we get the additional rules and regulations from DEP. So I think we had, 10 or 15 sites that were over in acreage, but the majority of those sites that are town owned are very small sliver parcels, they're erratic shapes, you can't fit a design of an infiltration bed, so it leaves it down to really a handful of viable sites.
And those same handfuls are being looked at
Sure.
for the police station.
Yeah,
What-
we're all
what-
in
But
this
at the
together.
same time, this can be put underground, under the police station, as they've done in
And
Bourne.
Bourne, it's all doable.
Regardless of the BS that'll fly around about we can't have it there, it can be done.
But there can be some very
Yep.
definitive questions to ask to make this possible. And for example, what's the overall size of the site? That at the Westfield, say it's 100 acres. If we need 30, what is the size? We just need an acreage for a football field, a facility, and there may be room for both. Or there may be technologies that allow you to combine both, but without all the decision makers talking, it's very difficult to come to that point. But believe me, there's multi-use facilities all over. It can be done.
It will be
Absolutely.
done,
That's
and I
why,
think
you know,
that's, you're right.
So we could go over this, under the soccer field
Exactly.
that
But
already
it
exists.
comes down to a
Or the
discussion.
Tigers,
Think about that, yes.
Tigers is gonna put in their own stadium, so they're not gonna use that other 13 acres, but, so
we
it
could work
could be
with them.
something under something
All
that
right, we're not
already
gonna solve
exists.
that one tonight.
It's a larger
No, but I
holistic
just-
discussion, because believe me, I know the affinity with the sports and the Cape League and what it is down here. Nobody wants, and that's awesome to see that, to have that. But we have to acknowledge the fact that
In the middle of Anderson Track.
So we thought, trust me, nothing's off the table, but just for the sake of time, just to be frank, we've evaluated many. These are the two
Yep.
that we've decided that the most viable to do what we need to do, so that's why we're gonna focus on those. We wanted to do close to the plant, but it creates some issues that we couldn't overcome, so therefore, we're moving forward. So it's a powerful, positive thing, so we'll work with that. And the comprehensive wastewater management plan, we all gotta work together, because as I said to Derek today, we have to meet with every department in the town to decide on our comprehensive plan for the long term of sewer in Wareham, what are we really gonna do and what our needs are. So that, we're in the process of that now, that all comes into place. So-
Shangri-La,
Yeah, that's another one.
before we put, we're about
No,
to
that's
put
gonna be
the
a second
playground
one.
in.
That's the second
So-
one. That's the second
So
one.
there is, I mean,
Yeah, that's the second one.
then you can sewer everything down in Shangri-La.
I believe, I'll be very frank, I believe with two new pumps, treatment plants in town, decentralized, in West Wareham and Shangri-La, we can take care of every need in the town of Wareham, period, and never worry about sewer, and do it all in-house.
And bring in that Chinese,
Yes, one of the technologies we're looking at,
that technology that says we're standalone.
that's right.
Yep, sorry, I
So
went off
that's where we're
target.
going with it, and we're looking at Wareham, and I apologize, because for the last 6 years, we spent so much time on regionalization, we really hadn't focused enough on Wareham. Not that regionalization is off the table, but we really have to look at Wareham, and what's in Wareham's best interest, long-term, and that's where we are now.
So-
That's our direction.
The regionalization off the table is we're no longer going to look at doing a discharge into the canal.
We
Is
will-
that now off the table?
I'm not saying that. What
Oh.
I'm saying is, it's not off the table. What I'm saying, and I'll be very clear, we're not taking anything off the table, but we're putting on the table things in Wareham's best interest. What I mean by that, if Bourne and Marion say we're not getting involved after we wait, and we do, and all this time we're wasting and all this good stuff, then where does Wareham go?
Yeah, the
So we
bot-
have to
the
have,
The bottom line is we're gonna take care of in-house first, and if we can go the other routes, we will.
then we'll go.
Those
Okay.
aren't gonna be
Absolutely.
eliminated, that's part of the
Absolutely.
discussion, but
Absolutely. I agree.
first.
Can I add a couple statements? I'll keep them brief. So, the other thing we should, so the process we're doing now with this comprehensive wastewater management plan, that will identify the town's needs for the future, what the options are. But even before that plan is done, we know some definitive things. We know that the plant now is under capacity. We know that we will likely need another plant in West Wareham, because we are going to get a TMDL for the Wareham River that's going to
We don't want
require
to go into that stuff yet.
additional, so we don't want to go into it, but it is,
It's
when
the
it
stuff-
comes, if it comes in paper, it has to be addressed. So to your
Yes.
comment that no properties were sewered out there, there may, and I'm saying may, it's not definitive, but there might be a TMDL that comes out that says, yes, you do have to
You
remove
have no
nitrogen,
choice, but you must.
and you have no choice.
So,
So it would be
yeah.
great to have a plant right there, because then you don't have to tie it across town. But what I'm getting at is that, so is the regionalization off the table? Not necessarily, because if we start to go source these other two sites for treatment facilities, if there is a fatal flaw that either the regulators or something that wasn't caught, is that outfall pipe to the canal is still an option. At the end of a CWMP, we present what the needs are and what the options are. Each option has a pro and a con, and it has a cost to it. And after doing CWMPs for it's numerous towns on Cape Cod, it's generally the lowest cost option that meets the goals of the project. So if a goal of the project is to remove nitrogen to X amount, what is the alternative that's the cheapest cost to do that? Because it's the lowest cost to the ratepayers. And that's our job, is to come and present these. So the projects we're moving forward on now, like the groundwater recharge, new plant development, all these things are things we know regardless of the outcome of the CW, that we have to do anyways. In a perfect world, would we want the CWMP done first? Yes, we would, but it's not a perfect world we live in, and it is what it is.
We should have it done in a month or so, but anyways. And we're in good shape, because we've done a lot of things preparing for it. But the bottom line is, one of the requirements of the comprehensive plan is to look at regionalization. That's a requirement. The state requires it, so we're gonna do that and put it
Sometimes
there.
you do it because you get asked the question,
But you
well, we
need
looked at
that-
it, doesn't make, you know,
But the bottom line is, we need that in order to go after grant funding,
for SRF
To
funding.
do it right.
or SRF funding.
So yes, you have
So
to
you
have an
have to have
adopted
that.
CWMP to
All the other
qualify for
stuff is
2%,
superfluous.
correct?
It fits in, it's a necessary, but the primary is, in order to get SRF funding, we have to have that. So that's number one.
Yep.
You know, everything
So-
else is secondary.
So that's why we've been focusing on the comprehensive plan, everything that goes around it, because
so
that's,
and
for
so
everything
that's
we
where the
do, it's
focus has to
critical.
be.
It's critical, so that's been one of our major focuses. And Kendrick is there, but it's not the major focus.
Right.
We have a lost sight of it, but it's not the major focus
But,
like
yeah,
everything
it's
else.
just- yeah, but That
So-
plan is important.
That's good.
We're stymied without it.
So the fire alarm system is, we've been stifled with that in the building. We have to upgrade it per fire department rules. We're having a hard time getting little computer chips for it, but we're going to move forward with the horns and the bells and the whistles and all that. So we're working on upgrading that. So as soon as that, I think in the middle of August, we're supposed to get the chips, and then we'll wrap up that. That's been going along. Saltworks, the platform is being fabricated as we speak. That shortly will be delivered. We'll get that generator. I think it's still out in October, is a deadline for the, so once we get the platform up, we'll wait for the generator, it to come in. They put in the transfer switch, they're doing the wiring, we're preparing for everything. So once that generator comes in, we'll plop it on top and move forward. So that should wrap up. There's other little projects going on. If you need them, let me know, but that's the
SCADA.
bulk, the big stuff that we got going on.
SCADA straightened out.
Yes, we spent $200,000 to get SCADA straightened out. It's all upgraded. It's all upgraded, yes, and so it's kind of a good thing. And then when we get the new part of the plants going on, we'll integrate it. The integrator will come in integrated, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, that was big.
Where
That
did
was
the
huge.
200,000 come from?
I borrowed it from a friend. It was in the budget. We put it in the budget. It was last year's budget. We carried it over. 200,000 was in the budget, and that quasi-capital thing we talk about, it was in the budget. It was already there. We spent it. So, yeah. So there's a lot going on, and I mean this sincerely. You know, what you didn't do yesterday, you're going to pay twice for today. And that's the game we're playing. It's been years and years and years, and no one's happy. But some of these things are not an option, not an option. So anyways, that's that. So that's my update. And if you want me to roll into Fort Tow Road, I could, but that's on the agenda, and it's pretty straightforward stuff.
Toll Road, do we have any comments on that? I see what we have here on them. They're looking for
That's dangerous.
basically 20,000 cubic feet of water. Toll Road is looking at a 20,000.
No, 28 gallons per day. 20,000 cubic feet.
20,000 cubic feet.
Yeah, you do the math, your cubic feet, 7.48 gallons per cubic feet, yeah, and then you divide it by 365, bring it back down, and that comes out to that number, so yeah.
So what
So
is
it's
it?
288 gallons per day.
288 a day, okay,
The 19,000 cubic feet is the whole year of water use.
okay.
So, you know, Sandy, I'm going to explain this real quick, if you don't mind, Jim.
Go ahead,
We've got the nursing home. There's a buyer for it on Minor Forest.
right.
That's presently doing, it's using 14,000 gallons per day of water. That's what that building's doing in the
If
future.
it was occupied.
When it was occupied.
Yes, okay,
When
but
it was
right now it's
occupied.
not.
Right now it's nothing.
But it's already
It's
included.
already
in-
there. The
Yes.
14,000.
In what our
is
numbers
there.
are.
So when somebody buys it, so right now what we're going, here's the effort, and you want me to tell you about it, but here's the effort back and forth. The guy buying it says he wants to put 3 and 2-bedroom apartments. Okay, let's take the 14,000, here's your number. Because you cannot exceed that, you gotta match it. If you go lower, that's good, but you cannot exceed that gallon, because that's what the system was taking. It's in there, that's all you can do. So now we're negotiating. What is he gonna put in there? So I've got to talk to him, I've got to talk to engineers, and this is his limit. When he's all said and done, I don't care what he does, but when he's done, it can be no more than 14,000 gallons a day. We're doing the same thing with motels that are selling, that they want to convert. There's one in particular, it's 1,400 gallons a day. That's his allocation, because that's existing. Whatever he does, I don't care what the change of use is, I don't care what he puts in there, it cannot exceed the
Right.
1,400 gallons a day. He already has those are his.
Yeah,
I
because
can't add to that.
that's not additional flow, that's
So
just
it's not, so
reconfiguration.
just, because that's going on every single day. And
Yeah.
what Sandy's saying, she wants me to get you involved in those, and I'll give you all that information as I get it, but that's a every single day negotiation, talking, how we doing this and what's going on, and so that's what the moratorium's done, and so we have to really pay attention. I cannot increase the flow, but the existing flow is what I'm working with, so that's to
Okay,
explain that.
but the tow road situation that we've got here,
So tow road is being sold to this new gentleman. It's a whole new buyer. So it comes off the plan of the first proposal done by a gentleman to do the gas station, Popeyes, and this parcel. So he
Was this-
sold it.
Was this gallonage allocated earlier on before the?
Because
this
we
was
didn't.
not,
Remember, the
so-
board said, no, we did one at a time.
Right.
And so he's gonna come back eventually for this
I just
parcel.
wanted to double check that.
He sold it. We used to have it in the queue because we told him to keep coming back, we'll put it there. He sold it. Now, it's a new individual who purchased it. It's his. He starts from scratch. He's going to zoning, he's doing all those things, and he's getting some approvals. And so I said, I'll present to the board as a new owner, get permission to connect. Once he does that, he can move forward with anything he wants, but he can't do anything to add to the system until the gallons become available, whenever that is. And Sandy wants to be involved in that, and I have no problem, because I'll take all the help I can get, because these decisions, some are heart-wrenching, and all the help I can get making them, I'll definitely ask for it. So that's where we are. So his proposal, or what he's asking for, is permission for him, who's the new owner, to connect to sewer, because there's no connection there. He's gonna tie into Mickey, so I've gotta work out how's that gonna work. There's an existing on private property. Is he gonna get permission, easements? I've got a lot to work through before he can connect. But to start the process, he needs permission to connect the sewer on this new parcel, and that's what we're asking for tonight. Once that happens, if the board approves it, then we'll work forward to getting everything done to make it connectable, but he can't connect until gallons are available. So that's what he's asking, it's a new owner.
I was just looking at the list of the properties that we had. I didn't see Popeyes on here at all.
Yeah, we approved, first we
I
approved.
know, I'm looking at everything that was approved for 253,000 gallons, but I don't see Popeyes on this list.
Yeah, I don't know why it wasn't on there, but it was approved. But, well,
I
probably
know
because.
it was approved, but
He's probably, and here's the other thing, I talked to him, it hasn't started yet, so I gotta look at the date we approved it, so I can call him and say what's going
well,
on.
Robin Hood Road hasn't been started, but it's on this list
on the
of
list.
being already approved.
Yes, but they're working, they're doing architectural, they're doing, so they're working towards it. Popeye's done nothing. That's the difference. If they went silent and did
Exactly.
nothing, then we'd
Exactly,
address
because our
it.
discussion on this, on that particular policy was that you had it for a year. If you didn't do anything with it in that year, you came back and told us why you hadn't, or where you were going, or if you were, or what's going on, otherwise you'll lose it.
Well, here's,
So, and we don't care what they're doing as long as they're doing something. It could be
Here's one for
engineering, whatever.
240, well, it's really 24 Oak Street. That's been well over a year.
Yeah, so we'll make a call. I think
think we-
Gaff is doing it. I don't think, because he was gonna do something weird there. Nothing's been done, so we'll pull those gallons. I think it was like
Didn't see Popeyes on that list.
Yeah, I'm
of
sorry.
Approved, not started.
we probably put it under the gas station because it was one parcel we had, so it's one big
Yeah, I think
package
that's
there.
where it was originally discussed, because it was gonna be over there.
So we did Popeyes included
Okay,
in it.
back to Toll Road. What are
Mm-hmm.
we doing with this one here?
So it's up to the board. So what he's asking for is permission to tie in so it can continue his process of ZBA and all the other things he's working towards. So he said that we have to either say can connect with a caveat that no flow is available. When it becomes available, then he'll move forward, but he needs our permission as he can to, and I disagree, but that's what he's looking for. So I told him I'd present it.
So basically what you're looking for is you've got permission to connect when we have capacity available.
That's right.
The present time, there is no capacity available, therefore you cannot connect.
Cannot connect. But he said he needs permission for, I'm sorry, no.
Is he on their list?
No.
But he's gotta have permission.
So he's got to
to
get, he's got permission so he can get on that list.
Okay.
This is what I was saying.
I said that,
God,
but
it's
until he...
catch-22.
No, I get that, but he's,
Right,
I hear what you're
okay.
saying, but until he gets on that list, he meets all the criteria, does all the zoning, does conservation if it's needed, all the hoops, and then it's okay, I can build, he can go to the building department and apply, the building department knows that we have a moratorium, they say, oh, we'll do all this, but however, you can't move forward until gallons become available. So we're very transparent through the entire process. As the builder, you can say, I'd rather not, well, you know what? I'll take the chance. That's your call, but as long as you got all the facts, you can make a good decision. That becomes your decision. And so that's what we're trying to do. Present it, you do what you want to do. If you want to keep, fine, but know that you cannot. The building department will not let a building go up, because Paul, Mr. Turner, really great relationship, he won't let anything go until I say sewer is good. And I like that relationship.
Okay, so
It's
that's
a long
a
time
new
coming.
one, because he's brand new.
Great guy, great guy,
Okay.
great guy.
So basically, all you're looking for here is approval for him to be able to authorize him the gallonage when it becomes available.
That's it.
And would this mean now that he goes on the list, the queue,
So here's the thing,
Yeah.
and that's what we're gonna talk about. I think we should start an active queue of people that aren't existing. Because this is a new connection, there's a difference
Right.
between existing and new. This is a new connection.
Right.
I think they're treated differently because he's adding total capacity. Someone may already be adding 100 gallons, they wanna put another 5 gallons, whole different ballgame, whole different ballgame. This guy has nothing. He wants to start from scratch, and that's a different, because we really don't, we could just say no. No new connections, we'll deal with this stuff. And so that's the board's purview, and I thought that's what a
Okay.
queue is. But you
Well,
call it what you want and set it up the way you want to set it up, but that's what he's asking for. I don't think he needs it. He said he does, talking to the different departments. And so I said I presented on his behalf, and if the board said fine, it's fine. If they said no, it's no. That's simple as that.
I mean, I have no qualms about, authorizing that based on the fact that he cannot hook up until we have gallonage available and we approve it.
It's a board's purview. But anyways, that's why I presented it.
Okay? Yes? You're looking,
I don't know. I don't know why you have to say anything. If the gallonage is there, he gets it. In order.
yeah, well, I mean,
If it's not there, it doesn't happen.
Right,
right,
right.
but he needs some permission in order to continue his.
Continue to the
paperwork.
zoning board, to the different departments in the town, to go
Departments
through the
he's gotta go
process. He said they told him he needs, if he can hook up, if he gets, that's on. I'm like, I don't think you need it, but he said he does. And I said, okay, I'll present it. I figured it was a no-brainer, that all departments knew, but he said,
I don't understand what's going on here,
yeah, I don't know either.
why you have to make any kind of a commitment.
Yeah, it's,
I'm not interested in making a commitment.
Okay,
It's
'Cause
not
that's what I
there.
told
If
him.
it's not there, it's not there.
I would love to see the,
Well, it's
the
never gonna be there if he gives it
I would
away
like to see
every
the
time.
bylaws that require that
Available.
before anything can proceed.
what's that?
I'd like to see where it is in the regs that said it must have sewer approval before he can,
I don't know.
that's what, I would love to be able to see
So
that.
you have to talk to zoning, because that's what he said who it
Zoning
is.
or
yeah.
building?
He said zoning.
I guess,
So I'm not getting in the middle. He said zoning needs it. I'm not getting in the middle of
Okay,
it.
and so there's someplace in the bylaws, if zoning has it, then there's bylaws.
Yeah, zoning needs it. That's what he said. He can't move forward unless zoning said, until the sewer says, yeah, I can connect when it becomes available. And that's what zoning needs. I don't need it, but he said zoning does, and that's all I said. I'll present it. The board can make a decision, not my call, but he said he needs it to move forward. So that's his presentation, not mine.
I'm not comfortable with giving any permissions, and then somebody starts the process, and then there's a building there, and then we have no choice.
Oh, no, we can't, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but, so that's where we are with it.
that's a good point,
It doesn't,
that's a good point.
Can we get something from zoning in writing? Whether it comes from Mr. Buckland or whatever, that,
I'm not following.
I would be probably the chairman of zoning,
I
maybe?
follow what you're saying. I
You
agree with
follow
that.
what I'm saying.
I do, absolutely.
Well, you said I could.
Guy, if this, on this particular one, if there's a requirement that he has to have this, then what Sandy and Mac are looking for, and I agree, is that
Letter from-
where is that that's telling us that he needs that?
Yep.
Because we don't have that information at the moment.
That's right.
It's
That's all we
confu-
need to do
yeah.
with that, so that goes from there. Okay, that takes care of that one.
It does.
Like that gets, we'll postpone that to a.
Yep, I agree with you.
another one.
And we had this
Let's not
conversation.
beat that to death, because
In
we're
other
not
words,
going
where are you
anywhere
going
with
with this thing?
it. Okay. We'll bring that one back at a later point with the information necessary.
Absolutely.
We've got an abatement recommendation for Nanumet Street. And the recommendation is that the application be denied for $323 as the water was turned back on
217.
2/17.
So, yeah, so the water was turned off less than a year, turned back on, so they don't meet the criteria for an abatement, so it's simple as that. We told him before he went into it, but he did. He wanted to apply for abatement. And that information came from the town, from the water district.
If he'd waited a month before he
I was
turned it
gonna
back
say,
on,
too
it would
bad
have
he didn't wait
approved.
until closer to May to turn it on, as opposed to turning it on in
Yeah.
February and not making the
Don't tell
year.
people that. Don't tell anybody. Let them do what they normally do. If it falls, it falls. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
So we don't have it.
It's $323. No, he just didn't mean it. They did their thing, demoed us, rebuild it, went in the dates, that's all.
Okay, so do I have a motion on this item?
Boy, that's nitpicking.
Absolutely.
Can we give partial abatements?
No, nothing. Nothing.
It's just too bad he turned it on so soon.
Well, if he hadn't ripped up the bill and seen the procedure.
It's in his bill.
Yeah.
What I say, it's in the
It's
bill.
not on the back of the bill once you send the receipt in.
Well, read it before you destroy it. Read everything. It's in the bill.
Do I have a motion one way or another on this?
I mean, we deny this for $323.
Okay, and, or a second?
Second.
Sandy, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 400.
Mr. Chairman, I think I've done pretty much a report, unless there's something specific. I will turn it over to the presentation and let them present what they're going to present. I
Listen
think
to
you've heard
them
enough
again?
from me tonight, and that's what I would like to do.
Yeah,
Is
listen-
Are you
this,
leaving?
I was going to go home and watch the ball game, but if you want me to stay, I'll stay. Just kidding. I'll stay. I'll stay.
Ditto.
what ball game?
The one we're gonna
Red
start.
Sox.
The one that the Gatemen are playing out here.
Gatemen are playing? I might be more interested in the Red Sox.
Jeez,
Is
I'm
this
go-
different than the proposal we've seen already?
A little bit. What they're going to present, to Mr. Chair, what they're presenting tonight is we're going to ask the board to sign off and allow us to apply for the $60 million for the SRF funding. Just apply. Doesn't guarantee nothing, but before we do anything, we got to at least apply, and that's a
Oh, we did
process. Nothing's official. So we're going to make it official, present it, what an
It's official. You
IUP
can
is.
borrow any amount of money you
We
can
hadn't
possibly get your
voted on
hands
it.
on.
We haven't voted, so that's what they're doing tonight.
Came up at the selectmen's meeting.
That's right. So you're going to vote tonight.
And it was
We're
just
asking.
for FYI to the selectmen. It was just information.
Yes, but what I'm saying, they said they wouldn't do anything unless you guys voted on it.
Oh.
Because someday they're gonna have to
It's just
sign off
Well,
on
the
it.
selectmen didn't see the money impact to the users.
Yeah, they did.
No, they didn't.
Of course they did. It
Yeah,
come
it
up
was
twice. Two
presented.
selectmen hammered it.
I was at that meeting.
Me
I
too.
was- Yeah.
Yeah,
They
the
did not.
money, so
they
all the
did not do
taxpayers are
these
paying
back
for it?
pages with the dollar amount.
Okay, let's have the presentation.
Well,
Thank
but
you
we
very much,
talked about it.
Guy.
It wasn't there.
No, nothing.
People have been sitting around long enough listening to us.
$220 an hour, I'll sit all night. Just kidding.
Yeah. No goodies.
Took a reduction?
I wouldn't do that to you. Good evening, Russ Kleekamp, engineer with GHD, Sarah Greenberg, engineer with GHD. Would like to discuss tonight basically a continuation of the previous Board of Selectmen meeting and Sewer Commissioners meeting, talking about the projects for this fall, the projects that we are planning on submitting to DEP through the project evaluation form, which will put us on the intended use plan. So we can have a discussion, but the two items we'll be asking the board to potentially make a motion on tonight is, one, for submission of the project application form to the Department of Environmental Protection, And this does not obligate the town to any funding. What this does is gets you on a pre-approved list, if you will. So, but basically saying, we want X amount of dollars
In the queue.
in queue. Very good.
Queue.
So again, if a vote is made to pass the PEF, it's not obligatory of any town funding at this point. But very quickly, similar to the last SRF project we did, we'll have to start getting the warrant article language prepared for fall town meeting, which will require funding for the engineering. Again, the SRF program does not fund the engineering design, so that has to be pre-appropriated at a town meeting before the application. At the last meeting, we talked about a total of 3 major projects totaling roughly $60 million. As a rule of thumb, just when we're trying to take high-level engineering fees, we usually use 10% of the construction cost when it's in that realm, just to put us in the realm of what the engineering will be, so we can anticipate somewhere in the magnitude of $6 million. What the goal is now for both GHD and for Beta is to fine-tune those numbers, combine those numbers, if indeed, now again, Beta Group's doing the Swift Speech, the I&I portion of the project, GHD will be performing the work at the plant. So if the commissioners decide to move forward on all 3 projects tonight, we would put a project evaluation form into DEP for that total of approximately $60 million. Again, it's not, what's the word I'm looking for? With the town, PEF, not committing the town to funding with the PEF, or projects to a lesser degree.
Okay, this, by
Well-
putting this forward means that we're in the queue, that we would potentially be accepted for something.
Correct. We're trying to get approved. The state's saying
Trying to
correct.
get
Yep.
approval for a certain, whatever the amount.
Think of it as a pre-approval for a loan.
Right.
You're pre-approved up to X.
So, do I understand correctly that we have to commit to but not spend any money until we get an approval?
In January, after they evaluate every single project throughout the state, because every city and town in the state's going to apply, they will number them, they'll weigh them, they'll evaluate them, and they'll make a list, top 70, top 68, whatever, and they'll publish that list. If we're on that list, then we can move forward. So we
So
either,
we don't have to do anything
Nope.
spending-wise until that list comes out?
Correct.
no, we don't. We don't have to spend a penny.
We have to make a commitment
In Springtown, yes,
that we will go forward if in fact
Right.
we get something.
Yeah.
which would be in the spring.
Okay, so right now, the approval is just a cursory situation. We're not being committed
Nope,
for dollars out of pocket at the moment.
no. The approval to apply and move forward.
Okay, that's.
Absolutely
all right, That's
correct.
what I want to clarify, make sure.
Absolutely, you're
And
correct.
if it's helpful, just to reiterate the slide that we showed last time of the schedule, the three major next steps are submitting this PEF form, and that is pretty much saying to the EP, hey, these projects, we want to be approved for these projects for this amount of a loan. And then in the fall town meeting is when the design funding would get appropriated, and then in spring town meeting is when construction funds would get appropriated. And to Guy's point, in the spring, next year, the beginning of the year, is when the DEP will say, yes, that those projects that you applied for and that monetary amount is approved to go forward if you appropriate the funds. So this step is no appropriation of funds.
Hey, Sarah, one more time. The
Sorry.
PEF for approval here is to submit the form for consideration. Did I get that right?
To submit the project, to submit the projects
To-
for approval of a certain loan,
DEP?
correct, to the state revolving fund.
Right.
What are the 3 projects?
Project number 1, that's been what we're considering like the highest priority, is to address the I&I and Swift Speech, the grinder pumps, because that's going to,
But we've already got approval for that. But you're
No, it's-
talking.
that- no, we're talking-
Wait. We have for the for Swift Speech project. Are you telling me there is a Swift Speech number 2?
Not the entire project.
can I just ask one question? So to do the entire, putting in grinder pumps and Swift Speech is roughly $20 million.
Okay,
Entire project.
Right.
The
And
entire,
that's what we were going
of
in.
which we've got a piece of that already approved.
yes, right, we're doing a piece of
We're
it.
doing a
yes.
piece.
Yes, Yes,
Oh.
absolutely.
Yes, we've got a
Yes, we
piece
are.
already approved.
Yes, you're right.
We've only got approved
Small,
130.
yeah.
I know, but it is a piece of the total 20 million.
No,
No, Sandy.
no.
I-
What we have approved right now is
Don't
the
confuse me with Swiss
Wenquico
Beach.
area, which all flows to the Ruggles Street pump
Okay,
station.
so we have approval for Ruggles Street.
Right.
You want to do the rest of it for 20
Which
million.
ties into the Smith Street pump station. So it's adjoining it.
Okay. So the 20 million is for the rest of Swiss going to Smith's, above and beyond what we're doing for Ruggles.
Correct.
Exactly.
Can we call it Swift's too?
Anything you want, yes. I just-
Whatever you
If
desire,
that's
Sandy.
easier, sure, we could call it the
Okay.
We'll call it
Swift-
Smith.
Phase 2, Swift
Smith,
Beach Phase 2.
as opposed to Swift's Ruggle.
Because everything goes to Smith, everything, even Ruggles goes to Smith, so call it Smith. Just to clarify the two, call it Smith and call what we're doing now Ruggles.
Okay,
And to make it
20
easier,
million for Swift's
Smith,
Smith.
yes.
Okay, what's the other, was number 2?
The second project, Sarah?
Is the headworks upgrade at the treatment facility, the WPCF.
And was that part of the 40 million?
That's correct.
Correct.
And what's number 3?
Secondary clarifier upgrade,
Was that part of the 40 million?
yes.
Okay, so how much for the headworks?
Right now, they've just been itemized in that presentation as 20 and 20.
Okay, so I'll put 20 million for the clarifiers.
Sandy, if you go in the original evaluation they broke out some numbers for both those projects, because
Well, I
we're just
just-
reiterating, and so.
You say 3, and I only had 2 listed, and I was trying to get where the third, what the 3 were. Okay. Okay,
In what we're submitting, the project evaluation form, it spells this out very clearly. Obviously, that will be submitted to superintendent and can be distributed.
so you're looking for approval to submit for to the DEP
Yes,
to go forward,
yes, to borrow the
be
money, yes.
considered.
Yes. to
Because I
be
believe in
considered.
early August is the deadline, and we may not have another commissioners meeting before then.
That's right,
So-
we got it, that's why we came in.
And for fall town meeting, we're going to be looking for a warrant to cover the engineering cost of those 3 components.
Absolutely.
And Sandy, to clarify, before I do that, we've got to make sure, my discussion statement with Sullivan, I may not have 6 million, so we'll clarify all that. When you get the article, we'll clarify numbers, so we'll get that part later.
Then, then we find out whether or not we're on the state list for the state funds.
I would, gut instinct, we don't have a crystal ball, but I would hope that with the additional infrastructure funds, that we should not have a problem getting these projects on the list. I don't, I say that, I don't mean to jinx us.
I think so.
I feeling we'll be right there.
I think so.
I think we'll be up there.
Very
so-
sensitive area.
Correct.
I really believe that. I really believe that.
Okay.
We'll be up top somewhere.
Yep. I
Then-
agree.
Then
agree.
next spring, being aggressive, we're going to be looking for a town meeting for the 60 million.
Whatever, yes, we'll look for
Whatever we
appropriation.
don't, whatever is not covered by the state.
That's right. And we'll look for
Am I
appropriation when they
understanding that,
finalize the
Sarah? Am I
numbers.
missing it?
No, you're right on.
Right on.
You're right on.
And-
Is it? Yeah, you're right on. We'll look for appropriations in the spring. You're right.
I'm looking to Sarah. She's writing something.
It's a love note to me.
She's writing, yeah, she's,
So, just to help clarify, the 60 million amount in there is is a magnitude, order of magnitude cost that includes an estimate for engineering.
Right.
So whatever you appropriate in the fall, the spring appropriation will be 60 million less what's appropriated in the fall.
Okay. So
It's
this-
just that, oh, so sorry.
This
Go
is a
ahead.
major ballpark, 60 million, nothing's firm. This is what we're targeting. 10% will be used for engineering.
And the reason that's appropriated in the fall is because the SRF program won't fund the design engineering. So we've
That's
provided you the
covered by us.
total cost, but you won't be, but that won't be for the SRF loan.
That's interesting.
And there is there are other, I want to talk with the superintendent about this offline, but we are going to look for other fundings to help offset that engineering as well. There's some potential out there.
there is, and there's 0%
6
fund.
million is going to be a big nut for the town
Yes.
meeting.
right?
That's right.
Okay,
It is, we will talk about
I
that.
just have one question.
Wait a minute, Mac, excuse me one second.
Yeah, go ahead.
That 6 million, if we appropriate it at the fall town meeting for engineering, we don't have to begin engineering at that point, is that correct?
But there's nothing to engineer until we
don't-
get approved.
Pardon me?
That we wouldn't start engineering, it'd be nice to, but let's say that we get to January, we're not on the list. What are we engineering? Nothing.
Then we come back in town meeting and have it
And we have to
reversed.
put the money
That's what I'm
back.
saying.
Yes.
We approve this, we're
correct.
gonna look at
Yes.
approving the 6 million,
Right.
but we're not spending any of it.
Contingent
and
upon
contingent
approval
upon-
of, right.
Absolutely.
So if for some
Fine.
reason it did get approved, this all goes away. All
Exactly,
goes
okay,
away.
fine, that's exactly what I was.
Absolutely. You're right, you're
I
correct.
just want to clarify that,
You're
make sure that
correct.
was the way it was.
This is
That's the way I
actually
understood it.
a good discussion, because with these large projects, if they do come year after year, we're gonna have to get used to getting into
Doing
this.
this.
Yeah,
We'll
because,
do this many
protocol.
more times.
If they come.
I mean, we have to approve the money in advance for expenditure, for engineering, contingent upon approval of funding from whatever the funding source happens to be
yeah.
at the time.
Yep.
Fine, okay, that
Well,
makes sense.
that's good to know.
Yeah, that's why I just
I
wanted,
just had one question on the WAG number, 60 million, right? So your project's 58 million. Does SRF only fund the 58? Or do you have to give back what you don't spend?
No, it's
Or-
basically our job to come up with, and so if we get pre-approved, and SRF knows, like for the project evaluation form, these are order of magnitude numbers. When we go through with the formal application process, it is a very detailed with very specific cost estimates. And we need to get some of the design done to do that. So that's how this project, so if it does get put on the list, we start the
So
design.
that's an ongoing process.
It is, that WAG
Okay.
becomes much more defined.
That's when we sit down and we beat them up real bad
Yeah.
and say, this, we get the real numbers, and we really give them a hard time. So that's 60 million, when all's said and done, may become 57.
Yeah,
Whatever the
understood.
number is, that's what it
But
becomes, and
If
that's
it
what
is
we borrow.
67, they'll still work with us.
They will,
Oh, yeah.
but
I don't
believe
know
us.
how you predict
it's-
anything right now.
It's our intent, even in these times, we know the first number that we say publicly for these large projects, it can only go down from there, because it's always easy to ask for less money, but if we come back and say, oh, it's 80 million now, that's,
ain't gonna happen.
ain't gonna happen. So,
And I agree with the approach, and like Sarah says, order of magnitude. We're saying worst-case
That's what we've
scenario.
been talking about all along, so that's
And I
nothing
agree
different
with
than
her
what
on
we've been
that
doing.
approach, absolutely,
right.
You know,
absolutely.
and that's the way we need to continue if we're gonna take and get anything done.
Yep.
I mean, we've got enough,
I recommend we get the application in.
oh, absolutely.
I make that motion.
And a second,
All right?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you.
that was tough.
It was.
I'd also buy a lottery ticket.
I was thinking of finance a lottery ticket. I tell you what, we should all put in and give 50% to the, that's $1 billion.
Do we,
$1 billion.
one final question, just working, do we have a date for the fall town meeting established yet?
Is it third?
Fourth Monday in October.
Okay, and when is, and then when are the warrants due? About a month before?
No,
The
yeah,
articles are usually due,
Early September, maybe?
I'm thinking, I usually put my articles in early September, but that's a long,
So,
they've shortened the time frame, and I can't remember how they've shortened the time frame. But let's focus on mid-September as a due date for articles to be submitted to
Like
the
to do it
selectmen.
sooner, a little, at least to get the draft language, and I'm almost thinking
Well,
potentially at one of
for-
the next, just for discussion, we can put the language
This
together.
could very well be for borrowing the 6 million. Therefore, you would have, Mr. Foster would be involved in it, and the attorney, Mr. Bowen, would be involved in it. So the draft should be looked for early September.
Yeah, Draft
What-
is welcome anytime.
Yes.
Sure, and we can present to the board a draft soon to talk about the language, but it's very, it's similar. We have all the language from the last article, so it mirrors that. We're gonna try to get, instead of saying X amount, up to 6 million, we are gonna look at those engineering numbers now that we've gotten permission to submit the PEF. If we can get that number lower, we'll absolutely try to get it as low as possible.
Once we submit the article, then it has to be considered by the selectmen whether or not they placed on the warrant. So,
They'll place it on the warrant.
yes.
Do we wanna do that soon? So if we
No,
get the
you-
article
our-
language done sooner, we can get in front of the board
It's
sooner?
that timeframe. Isn't it
Yeah,
that timeframe?
but don't meet every week in August, so
So we need to
focus.
back calculate what it was, early September?
Yes,
for-
focus on that day.
Early September is your focus to
Focus on that
present
day.
to us. And then we can present an article to the selectmen for consideration on the fall town meeting warrant. At what time does it get wordsmithed is probably about that time frame.
Okay. Does that give us enough time, though, if we meet with the sewer, that would leave us about one meeting with, if there's any question, discussion, if for some reason,
It should be fine.
We should have plenty of time. It's gonna be fine. Trust me, it'll be fine.
Yep.
Okay.
And just a question of
Because
time.
I'm focusing all my articles for, the ones I do, for early September.
okay.
And like Sandy said, it's gonna be appropriate, borrow, whatever it means, so there'll be a lot of language. She
Oh,
can work with the
yeah,
language.
Mr. Foster gets involved with that one, and
Right,
Mr. Bowen
so
gets
that-
involved.
That language is gonna have to be incorporated, because if we
Yeah.
don't have, we have to borrow it.
And make sure
So
that
all
it
that's
is
gonna be in there.
open-ended as far as funding is concerned.
And as soon as we,
Any avenue possible.
Just give us $6 million and don't ask questions? Do you think that'll fly?
Yeah, about right.
as soon
That's
as
all
we
right.
know,
I
we
like
need,
that.
as soon as we know, we need to let Mr. Foster know this is happening. Last time, he was surprised. We don't do that to him
We
again.
don't want to do that. Absolutely, 100%, absolutely.
He works best when he's surprised. And
No.
Exactly. Keeps his heart beating.
Questions? Did we have anything else we wanted to, I mean, that was the main focus, PF, right?
Correct, correct. We want to make sure we can proceed with that application.
Right? Permission to be dismissed?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now you can get something to
Can you
eat.
watch the game?
He's gonna take,
I'm going to go home and watch
He's
the
gonna
ball
take-
game and
he's gonna
text
take you
Guy
out
all
to
the
dinner.
updates.
All those updates.
remind him,
Hear that
remind,
on live TV.
you're gonna take him out to dinner. He's gonna take you out to dinner.
I'm in. I need to eat.
Football game.
Finish
Thank you
eating
very much.
2 eggs. Give her something, give her
If
something.
anybody's interested, Sunday afternoon, Great Britain and Germany are going for Women's Euro Cup, if you're interested in soccer.
Soccer? Oh, that's good.
That was a great game last night with Germany and France.
Oh, wow.
Just in case you want to see some great female athletes.
And there's tons of them. Great female athletes, tons. And soccer.
It was
Thank
a
you,
great
gentlemen.
soccer, great match.
If you like soccer, did you watch Ted Lasso on Apple TV?
Oh, yes.
No.
Watch it, it's good.
You should watch that. It's good.
On what? Apple? Don't have it?
It's a soccer show, it's great.
Don't have it?
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Mr. Chairman, Sarah is going to start doing a series of educational programs through the television, local television, on the treatment plant. Anytime that you want a member to be there, let me know, and we'll get you involved. Bob's doing a great production. Sarah's explaining to the public all that's going on, trying to understand what we're doing here, so I would mention to the board, at any time you want to get involved, please let us know.
Oh, beautiful. Would love to. I mean, we need to get this thing. Got a lot going on. Swiss Beach, grinder pump policies. Do we have any?
Not yet, we have to work through that. So, here's the part, we've been around in circles, so as we get closer, we're gonna have to make some hard decisions, that's all, so.
Well, we better have something done by August 20th.
At least have an idea what we're doing.
Got to tell them something.
So the homeowner's responsible for all electricity, their hookup, that's on the homeowner. He just thinks we should pay for it. We don't have the money, but I think you should discuss that.
I think we should just discuss it. I mean,
No, I hear you.
it looks like it's gonna cost each one of the homeowners between $1,500 and $2,000 to hook up to the system after we spend all this money.
I'd agree with that.
Some, depending on how far they have to dig.
And remember, just so you know, we're
I
putting,
wants to put it as close to the property line as possible.
absolutely, and close to the lateral as possible, right there, yes.
Yeah, but if we go, I'm not taking a position. If we go closer to the home, obviously, you won't have to dig as deep.
But we have to.
But we're only digging at 4 feet. Where if we go at the property line, it's conceivable that we can be going down
Whatever it is.
in 8 feet and more.
Yeah, so what we're gonna try to do is ask, because the closer we get to the house, the less the lateral comes up, A. Where it's on the property line, if it's more beneficial to the homeowner to go a little closer, if they want us, we will. We'll work with the homeowner to make it as painless as we can, but they are gonna be responsible to hook it up. And so we'll work with them.
We've got to know what we're gonna do before this August meeting so that we can talk to these people about it. But actually, we should have held on to Bob.
You're probably correct. We're having a meeting tomorrow morning with Bob to go over all these, we're meeting with Todd. Our biggest problem is water.
You are?
Yeah, tomorrow morning,
Where?
at the plant.
What
Come on
time?
down. I think 8:30? Come on, I think 8:30.
8:30 in the morning?
Yeah, I want it early. Yeah.
That's a good point, Guy. If you're in the water, you may have to push it up higher.
So we're gonna get as close, because it comes up.
Well,
We're
you don't
gonna-
really want it in the water.
So
we'll
each
talk-
home could be quite different.
Absolutely. And we're willing to work
It
with
will
each
not
homeowner.
be a standard solution.
No, we can't. There's so many variables, so many
Well-
variables.
The other thing that I was concerned about for the homeowners is these grinder pumps are 220. Some of these homes have 60 amp services. That's gonna require the homeowner to bring a new service in.
Yeah, you're right, because we've done that in
Well,
Oak
then we've
Street.
gotta have some answers for these people. Can we help them in some cases or not?
When we did Parkwood Beach, Oak Street, we did Cremisa, they owned the pump, they tied in the pump, they tied in electrical, and if they had to replace the electrical, they did. So we've already done that. So towns, that's the position we had, and
So you just put it all on the people.
put that portion. We're eating the rest of it. We're eating the lion's share,
But that was a new project, right?
yes. So we bettered
See,
them.
the attitude is going to be, they've paid the betterment once, and now they're paying it again. And we've got to have an answer for that.
My answer is, if they had shut off their sump pumps, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, but see, now you're punishing everybody
Not
for
punishing
one
them.
or two people.
What I'm saying is we're solving a problem. Not only that, let's talk about the groundwater, the sump pumps, there's the problems we're solving. And everybody benefits, because if you want to get right down
Everybody's
to,
going to benefit, yeah, but
Yes.
you're still saying that you're punishing
I'm not
the
punishing.
whole street because one guy's got a sump pump.
What I'm saying, sump pumps rob the entire street of capacity, the entire town of capacity. So by putting this in, we're doing best for the
You're
town.
basically asking for vigilante justice over there.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm talking about reality of what's going on, and we've got issues, and we've got to resolve them.
It's best for the environment, too.
Best for the environment, it's everybody wins. It's a win-win situation.
If I'm listening, the homeowner will be responsible for any electrical upgrade required. The homeowner will be responsible for digging the ditch.
But between the tank and their lateral, which we're going to get close to, yes.
Yeah, between home to pump. The town will pay for the grinder pump.
The grinder
and
pump,
installation.
installation, the force mains, the
Well, no,
cross
no,
pipes.
I'm talking about that one
Yeah.
homeowner.
We'll pay for the
I'm not
pump.
going down the street, I'm just saying,
That homeowner, we're paying for the pump.
my home on Sixth Street, I have to pay for electrical upgrade, and I have to pay for digging the ditch. The town will then pay for the grinder pump and the connection.
We're on Sixth Street.
Well, I just said a street,
Okay.
an ABC
You're
street.
confusing me. No, just
ABC
kidding.
street.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, you're correct.
What happens down the street for collection is
Not your business.
That's
totally.
immaterial, that has nothing to
So,
do with this.
just to tell the homeowner on the 20th,
You just hit what you need to tell them,
yes.
That's it,
that's it. We don't have to go any further than that.
no, because that's what's. the
Let's not
reality.
confuse the issue here.
Now, the other policy is if we, because we're maintaining it, what if we go out there and we find negligence on the homeowner? Then they'll pay for service call. If the pump fails, we'll replace it at our cost. If they load that pump up with baby wipes, then we'll fix it and we'll charge them a service charge. And we need to figure out what a good price is. I talked to people
I
that
just
do it.
wanted to say, the 20th, what we're going to be able to
Yes,
say to
this
them.
is about the 20th,
And
that's
each
gonna come up.
home, the length of that ditch will be looked at each dwelling.
And we'll do our very best to put as close as we can to the lateral to reduce that cost of digging. Electricity is all on them. And we'll even work with them trying to put it coordinated so it's closer to their box, et cetera, et cetera. We'll do all that, but they're responsible for that portion of it, yes.
Oh, so it's not just the electrical upgrade, it's the electrical connection.
Well, yes, because,
Now, I mean, not everybody needs an upgrade.
that's right.
So
wanna be
I will
clear.
add electrical connection to my list,
I
what
think,
homeowner.
Peter made the point before that 90-year-old lady, you can almost assure she hasn't upgraded nothing. So she may have an issue, and I think that's the point that he made. And what are we gonna do for her? And there's no special provision for that particular individual.
So
Okay,
electrical
let me
up-
give you a hypothetical situation, because I want to know the answer when we go there on the 20th. We go to one of these homes, and the policy is, as you just described, everything is on the homeowner. They don't have the money to do it. Is their sewage shut off?
Yeah, we'll condemn the house and shut it. No, what we'll ask them to do is, there's loans available at very low or zero interest to the town for septic.
loans
Yeah, I'll double check with the town, but for sewer, every time we
There
do
were.
it now.
There
They
used to
go
be,
there,
I know
yes,
that,
and
yeah.
so we'll verify that that's available for them,
Well,
because,
that's
will
the
do
kind
that.
of information we want to have.
so I'll verify
There's
with the
going
town.
to be
yes.
cases where
Yes.
they
No, I agree.
just plain don't have it.
Because the town had a policy where they would help these folks, and that's how we did the last
Right.
bunch of connections. They borrowed the
well,
money,
Yeah, like the funds were available if they had the septic system failed.
yes.
There were low-income loans available.
Right, there was low
What
interest loans.
department?
It was Cedar through tied
Cedar-
through planning, I don't know the
No,
department
not
now.
planning.
It was Cedar, it was
Cedar,
back in
I
the
think.
day, what's
Yes,
it called
it-
now?
Yes.
That is, and it's
HOR.
available at the bank. One of the banks that give it is the one there, excuse me, at Depot Street on the corner. What bank is
First
that?
National, First something, First Federal,
First Federal,
Credit
First
Union?
Citizens Federal Credit.
First, that's it. They are the bank that if you want to borrow money on low interest
For
for
home
septic
home
upgrade.
improvement, yeah.
Yeah, we've got to have that
Yeah.
kind of
get
information.
Check with Jamie and make sure that that is available and what type of interest.
yeah, because that's
They're good to
absolutely.
deal with, too.
Excuse me?
It's a good bank to deal with. They're good to deal with. I've dealt with them.
Yep.
Well, we're going to be in a fight. That's our problem.
There's nothing we're gonna
Well,
do, so we're not gonna fight.
I understand that, Guy, but
You're right.
convincing them is going to be a different story. And then you're going to turn around at town meeting and ask them to come up with us, borrowing another $20 million to do the rest of it.
And all of town meetings, so yes, you're right. Every sewer user is gonna pay for it. Yes. Okay, so Jamie, that's a good point. That's a really good point, a very, very, very good point.
Now, are you going to set down what the policies are going to be after the project is completed for these homes?
I think we should discuss it with these homeowners, tell them what we're planning, and then listen to their feedback and then set
Do
it.
we have any disagreement with that? That if the grinder pump
Fails.
fails,
The town
and
picks it up.
provided it didn't get filled up with handy wipes.
If the,
And if the alarm goes off and it has to be serviced,
the service charge.
it depends upon whether it's the homeowner's fault or a mechanical failure.
Absolutely.
Now, who's going to service it?
We are, the town.
Is the town going to service, or are we gonna put that out to a contract?
I thought the town would, we can talk about that. I talked to E1, our guys will be trained by E1 to service them. So, and they
I mean, I
said,
know you have a personnel problem
I
problem
do,
now.
but they're saying one person can run around and do them all. They said one person dedicated to these pumps is more than enough.
So when you say "we," the town, you're talking about a sewer
department.
employee, sewer department employee, okay.
Yes,
The sewer
Okay,
town.
now, are they gonna be available 24/7?
yes, we're on call, we are available now anyways, yes.
Okay.
If you rag up that pump station that everybody's on, and then pumps stop, we're on 24-hour call. These guys get called to go fix it in the middle
So
of the
this
night.
person would also go fix a grinder pump?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You comfortable with that?
Yeah, I am. I'm just as comfortable with hiring somebody that may be 4 hours away, 3 hours away, 2 hours away, that type of thing, and we're right here, we do it anyways, and we're responding now, we have it in place. I'm very comfortable with that. And I think the comfort becomes that one person gets dedicated, and we train a few people, but there's always one person dedicated.
Right,
I think it's the way to
probably
go.
have to train at least.
Yeah, a bunch of
Okay,
guys
now-
get trained.
What's our policy gonna be on a power outage?
When it goes out, we're gonna set out notice that you can't use the bathroom until power comes back on. In the interim, we have a generator, and we're talking about that, and we'll go out there and we plug the generator in and we empty it. What I won't do is sit there and watch somebody take a bunch of showers, because the power's out, so there should be minimal water use. And as I said to you before, we have a generator now to service all the ones, we have 43 in, and during a storm, if we get one call, it's a lot. In all the years we've had it in Oak Street, in Parkwood, and Cremisa, we've been out twice, in all the years. So I think that's less of a problem than we think
Well-
it's going to be.
It's just gotta be one more thing that we have to give them to learn, that if there's a power outage, cut down on your water usage or your waste water use.
Which I think it's natural. We have a power outage, I think
You
anyways.
can't leave it unsaid.
I get that, I see what you're saying, but I'm just saying that, yeah.
They don't want to take cold showers, therefore there will not be a lot of
There's gonna be a lot of
showering.
showers, there's not gonna be a lot of water.
Because there's no hot water.
That's not true. I have hot water.
Even with their power out,
Yes.
you got a generator.
No. I've got
Yes?
a water heater, gas water heater, that as soon as the water starts to flow, it ignites the gas.
So what ignites it? Electrical igniter, what's the igniter? Electric,
Excuse me?
what is the igniter? Electrical igniter?
As soon as, if I turn on the hot water and the water flows through the instant hot, the water flow kicks in something that ignites the gas.
Well, I understand that, but what I'm saying to you is, maybe you have a gas system that doesn't need an igniter, it just happens. But most gas needs some type of, it's
Oh, I
usually an
understand
electrical
what you're
spark.
saying, but-
So I don't know, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I
It's,
don't.
okay, but never mind.
I'm
Just,
sure
we have
this-
to say to them, if there is a power outage, please reserve.
We've just got to know all the answers
no, we
when we
will-
go down there,
Yep.
so.
We will service them.
Anything that comes up.
We'll service them,
Okay.
Peter, we'll go out
And
there and we'll
trust me,
pump
the
it.
goofier the question, the harder the answer.
No, you're right, we'll service them. Any power outage, they call in, they'll have a number to call, and we'll address it. Same thing with any,
Okay, let me give everybody some homework for the next meeting.
Oh, no.
Put together a list of items that should be included in the policies that you think should
Dog
be
ate it.
addressed.
the dog ate it. So next week, ask my homework, the dog ate it. I just wanted to give you my excuse already. The dog ate it. Worked in high school, so I'm gonna try it again.
Is our
And
next,
I'll mail all these the questions or things that
yeah,
I'm thinking of.
our next meeting
I'll
is
mail
on the
them.
11th, and we have the meeting with the people on the 20th, so.
Okay.
That'll give us,
Can I ask a question? Why didn't we have a meeting 2 weeks ago?
wasn't posted.
The note went out saying there was no quorum.
I saw what
don't think so.
went
Yeah,
out.
I had an email saying because there was no quorum, we don't have a
wasn't.
meeting.
It wasn't posted.
It wasn't posted.
I thought you were taking care of that.
August
Oh,
11th?
that's because you fell, and you weren't,
11th I
Jimmy
should be
falls, Jimmy who falls a lot.
11th, I should be around. Later in the month, I'll be going back to Maine, so.
The 11th,
I got
that's-
it, the water's not coming into the building, so I can kind of go, oh.
You're gonna go to Maine for all of the problem meetings.
Good for you. Glad you're going. Okay, superintendent's report, I think we pretty much covered most of it.
That's all done?
Okay, budget discussion, that's nothing, right? We're not on that.
Good there.
Okay, scratch.
Yeah, we're good. so.
Any other business, anybody?
No, I just want to make a comment that we have all the information so we can have a good discussion on the queue. I see confusion.
Yep.
And we need to know what the building inspector's doing. Can you get his list, or
I have
or
total
the
access.
building commissioner, I should say?
I have access. We have a thing called government something. It's online. We all talk and we all go, and so he
I don't-
does his
I don't want
approvals.
to get involved.
Yeah, so I'll give you a list as
You
I
can
get them.
just
I'll give you a list.
Print it up.
Yep, exactly.
I can do that.
So
So
we
there's-
have a better idea of what's going on. Because I'm a little confused.
Me too.
Okay,
What's,
Couldn't you tell?
what's the status with the the meter that you were putting in on the Bourne line?
There's a drought, and there's a drought, and we're not getting any I. It's one of the things, so we're gonna put we're hoping to put it in the middle of August, because August, September is our highest yield of flow, and it does cost money, so we're gonna wait till August to do it.
Is this our meter?
No, we rent it, I don't own a meter, we rent it.
We're renting it?
I have to, there's nobody, you don't own them, because they're partial
Proprietary.
flumes. Nobody owns them. They bring in, they set up a partial flume, it's all gravity, and they calculate it, and they check it, and they do the calculation, we get
If
the
there's
numbers.
no I now, Guy,
There's no I right now.
and you put the meter in, you get a good baseline of what they're really giving us.
Yes, we can say they give, so as an
And
example,
if you run it for a week,
let's say we found out they're giving us 30,000 gallons a day because there's no I, and we say, okay, we're good. Then we have I, and that 30 turns to 70, 80, 90, we'll never know.
Yeah, but your
We're gonna make-
I, if I understand correctly, the I is dependent more so on rainfall that we get. When we start getting rainfall, then you've got a way to calculate how much we have coming in from that, so, as Mike
That's
says,
right.
if we
Give
get,
us a
if we get a
benchmark.
baseline now where it's in a drought,
and you run it
We
for
have a
just,
it'll be
baseline.
pretty easy to calculate up.
We have a baseline of, we did this, and it was a drought, and they're giving us less than you can imagine. 50,000 gallons a day is what
Really?
they're giving us.
So
I didn't know you had
Want me
that.
to go with that number? I'll go with that number, 50,000 gallons a day.
If that's,
That's the base?
Right.
if that's
In a
an
drought.
accurate, if that's a reasonably accurate number for,
No, it's not accurate.
well,
So we're gonna do it when it's
And-
wet.
And how much are we committed to them?
200,000.
Yeah.
So in theory, they have 150,000. We know it's because the plant's doing 89,000, so we know that's an incorrect number. So we really gotta make sure we get all the parameters covered.
Well,
I
that's
don't
fine.
wanna make a
All right,
mistake.
well, if you're confident in that, I'm good
Yep.
with that.
I don't wanna take a chance of making a mistake.
Put it in when it
We're gonna
starts raining.
commit to this, and I wanna.
Stick it in.
Anything else?
Stick it in, we're thinking middle of August.
does
Jim.
somebody want to call Donna?
I make a motion to adjourn at 8:05.
Second.
Thank you. Appreciate your standing in.